Well, when you realize that I've been at Compassion for 34 years, I have had many, many minutes with children during that time. And some of them I can recall when it was kind of a divine appointment, when I might have been able to be the one to say the right thing. I remember one of the recent ones was in Indonesia. I was in a small compassion project. I was speaking to the children there about how important they are, how God loves them, that He knows their future. At my feet was a tiny little frail girl. And suddenly I had a thought, why don't I use her as an illustration? So I picked up this little girl, her name was Jessica. And I said, do you all know her name? And they said, yeah, she's Jessica. And I said, well, that's good, so you know her. Do you know how many hairs are on her head? And they were like, whoa. And I said, well, God does. Have you ever looked at her fingers? She has little designs on her fingers. They're called fingerprints, like nobody else. God loves this little girl. If she was the only little girl on earth, He would have died on the cross for her. And she snuggled into my arms. And I looked up in this little church, and the teachers were all around the walls. And as I looked at them, I saw tears streaming down their faces, and I thought, this is something going on here. But I didn't know what it was. And when I went to put the little girl down, she clung to my neck and didn't want me to let go of her. But once she was down, I sat down and I looked at the pastor beside me, and he was just he was weeping. And I said, what? And he said, I'll tell you. And later he told me, he said, you couldn't possibly have known this, but if ever there was a little child that needed a minute to be loved and respected, it was little Jessica. 3 months ago, that little girl was brutally raped, savagely raped. And she's been in a deep valley all this time. We are very surprised that she even let you, a man, pick her up. But in that moment, that little girl understood her worth. And I've kept track of her. It's been 5 or 6 years now, and she's doing just fine. But it was a moment. I couldn't have even known the significance of it. But I breathed value and worth and love into a little girl when she really, really needed it.